They say the truth is stranger than fiction. But some truths were never meant to be found. Tonight, you're about to hear real mysteries, disturbing discoveries, and events so dark that investigators quietly walked away. Because the answers were worse than the questions. No jump scares. No monsters. Just reality. Lock your doors. Lower the lights. And listen carefully. Because once you know these stories, you can't unknow them. The village that slept for 12 years. In the mountains of Kazakhstan, there exists a small village called Kalachi. At first, it looked peaceful. Too peaceful. In 2013, villagers began falling asleep without warning. Mid-conversation. While walking. Even while driving. Some slept for days. Others, for weeks. One man slept for 6 days straight and woke up screaming about shadows watching him. Doctors were confused. Blood tests? Normal. Brain scans? Clean. No drugs. No illness. Then the hallucinations started. People reported giant black snakes crawling across ceilings. Dead relatives speaking to them. Voices telling them not to wake up. Children woke up crying, claiming they had lived entire lifetimes while asleep. The government blamed carbon monoxide. But tests showed safe levels. Then came the discovery. Nearby was an abandoned uranium mine. Radiation levels fluctuated randomly, not enough to kill, but enough to disrupt the brain. The village was evacuated. But here's the part no one explains. Even after relocation, some villagers still fall asleep. At the exact same time each year. The man who never existed. In 1954, a man arrived at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. His passport looked real. His visa was valid. His accent was European. But immigration noticed something strange. The passport listed a country called Taured. A nation that doesn't exist. The man insisted Taured had existed for over 1,000 years, located between France and Spain. Officers escorted him to a hotel under guard. They kept his documents. The next morning, he was gone. No forced entry. No open windows. No CCTV footage of him leaving. Even worse? His passport also vanished. No records. No name. No fingerprints. As if he had never existed. Some believe parallel universes briefly overlap. Reality glitched. Or someone crossed over, accidentally. To this day, Japan denies the incident. But retired officials quietly admit that man was real. The radio signal from the dead. In the 1970s, Russian radio operators picked up a strange signal. It wasn't music. It wasn't speech. It was a slow, repeating buzz. They called it the buzzer. Every few seconds. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It broadcast 24 hours a day. Sometimes, a voice would break through. Reading names. Numbers. Coordinates. Then silence. Then buzzing again. Conspiracy theories exploded. Nuclear dead hands system. Mind control experiments. Messages to sleeper agents. But here's what disturbed operators most. Whenever a name was spoken, that person often died within weeks. The station is still active today. Still buzzing. Still waiting. The experiment that erased free will. In the 1960s, the CIA ran Project MKUltra. Official goal. Mind control research. Unofficial reality? They tested LSD on civilians. Hypnosis. Sensory deprivation. Psychological torture. One subject reported, "They erased who I was." Another claimed, "I remember things that never happened." Files were destroyed. But some survived. And many of those survivors later disappeared. No records. No deaths. No explanations. The project was shut down. But former agents say it never ended. It just went private. The CCTV footage that was never released. In 2016, police reviewed CCTV footage from a subway station. A woman stood alone on the platform. Suddenly, she looked directly into the camera. She smiled, then stepped backward, and vanished. No train. No blur. No cut. Investigators slowed the footage. Frame by frame. She didn't fall. She didn't move. She simply wasn't there anymore. The footage is classified. But one officer resigned the next day. His statement? Reality is unstable. The forest that makes people disappear. Aokigahara Forest in Japan. Also known as the suicide forest. But suicides aren't the strangest part. Hikers report compasses spinning wildly, phones losing signal instantly, hearing their names whispered. Some enter and are never found. Even rescue teams refuse night searches. They say the forest doesn't want witnesses. The DNA that shouldn't exist. A murder case in Germany. DNA evidence found at 40 crime scenes. Same DNA. Different cities. Different years. Different crimes. The media called her the Phantom Woman. They hunted her for 16 years. Then discovered the truth. The DNA came from cotton swabs contaminated at the factory. But one detail remains unexplained. The DNA profile doesn't match any known human database. The time slip witnesses. In France, 1901, two women entered a garden near Versailles. Suddenly, the air changed. People wore old clothing. The buildings looked unfinished. They believed they had stepped into the past. Historians later confirmed they had described Versailles exactly as it appeared in 1789. No explanation. Just time folding. The locked room death. A man found dead in a locked apartment. No weapon. No poison. No intruder. Autopsy revealed extreme fear. His face frozen in terror. The only object disturbed? A chair. Facing the corner. As if he had been watching something. Or something had been watching him. The scariest thing about these stories isn't that they're unexplained. It's that they're real. And somewhere, the answers still exist. Waiting. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark, remember, some mysteries stay buried for a reason. Sleep well.